The Prophet walks into the masjid one day, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and finds the Sahaba wrestling. And then he asks, he says, what are you doing? But the hadith is not just for them, it's for every Muslim to the day of judgment. Ya Rasulullah, marra man, let it go. Khalas, we walked in, we've stopped wrestling, leave it. But because he's the doctor, he's the teacher, and he's there to cure the sicknesses of societies. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, we're wrestling. Then he asks, why are you wrestling? Who's going to explain why we're wrestling? Who's going to explain why we're fooling around? So they said, Ya Rasulullah, we're wrestling to see who of us, who amongst us is who's the Rijal, brother? They're not doing anything haram. Rasulullah knows that they went. But he was worried about something far deeper. So what does he say? He said, the Rijal, the man amongst you, is not the one that can physically put down the other. Any meathead can do that. That's not how we determine who the Rijal is. Imagine how the Sahaba felt. Imagine when the Prophet is telling him, this is not how we determine men. He said, the Rijal amongst you, the man amongst you, please my young brothers, please don't fall for the fitna of the street, man. This deed will make a man out of you. The street will only make a thug out of you. He said, the Rijal amongst you, the man amongst you, is the one who, when a musibah, when a calamity happens, he can control his anger and his wrath. He can control it. He's patient. This is the man. This is not the man. The man is when something befalls, he's what? He controls. Try this. Try it. Yalla, I challenge everyone in the... Try it. See how difficult it is. Understand why when Allah mentions Rijal, there's honor and azza behind the word. Today we say man to anyone. Anyone that can throw some punches, yeah, he's a man. So we have another epidemic. You might tell me, no, brother, you don't have to physically fight. What's the other epidemic we have in our community, in our society? How do we determine who's the Rijal? How big is he, brother? We have a steroids epidemic now. Muslims. Ya Allah, steroid. Don't ask me halal and haram. But the sickness. Have you ever heard of the sickness called the small man syndrome? Have you ever heard of this? Small man syndrome? No, you've never heard? Small man syndrome is the small guy who feels like all the bigger guys never take him seriously. So he starts doing things that are out of his character in order to show them that, look, I'm a man as well. They call this what? Small man syndrome. And qasam by Allah, 99% of brothers on steroids, it's all small man syndrome. It's insecurities in the heart.